Hey, how's it going? Ben here. Great to see you again. Thanks for tuning in. In this video, we're going to be continuing to talk about visas for Thailand, and we're going to be looking at the marriage visa. Now, as you probably can guess, the marriage visa is for those who are married to a Thai citizen. So if your partner is Thai, then possibly you can apply for the marriage visa. The marriage visa comes with lots of benefits, mainly that it's a long-term extension of stay, so you can stay for up to a year and then renew the visa inside the country. It's also possible to apply for a work permit and work legally in the Kingdom of Thailand while you're staying on a marriage visa. So lots of benefits. Now, there are some criteria you must meet, so we're going to have a look at the finer details of the marriage visa in this video and try and figure out if it's the right visa for you. If you're interested in seeing an overview of all the different visa options for Thailand, then check out the link in the top of this video to a different video I did where I did an overview of all the different visa types that are available to you as a foreigner to stay in Thailand. I should stress I don't work professionally in the visa field. I'm not working for a visa agency or anything like that. All my knowledge on visa comes from experience. I've been living in Thailand for around 4 years, and I've never been on the marriage visa. However, I have known people who are staying on the marriage visa, and what I know comes largely from speaking with those people and researching online. I'll also leave links in the description to some of the other videos I've made on the longer term visa options for Thailand. In case the marriage visa isn't for you, maybe you can check out some of those. But without further ado, let's jump into it and have a look at the marriage visa for Thailand. So if we jump over to the computer and go here, back to a familiar site for this channel. So this is my visas, the Thailand visas mind map. And once again, we're back to the non-immigrant group of visas. So this is a very popular visa category. There's lots of visas in this category and lots of long-term visas in this category. So you will be a non-immigrant if you're going to be applying for a marriage visa. Non-immigrant visas allow you to stay in Thailand long term, and some allow you to apply for a work permit to work legally in the Kingdom of Thailand. Very big benefit of this visa, as you can see I've written it in green, you can apply for a work permit on the marriage visa. So I believe this is true. I believe that if you get a job in Thailand and you are on a marriage visa, you're married to a Thai citizen, and you're already on the marriage visa, then I believe you can apply for a work permit. Now that's pretty good, pretty important. It's often seen as a benefit by potential employers because they only have to apply for the work permit for you. They don't have to apply for the visa for you. You already have the visa. So it is quite a big benefit being able to apply for a work permit to then be able to work legally in the Kingdom of Thailand. Not all the visas allow you to do this. So the fact that the marriage visa does allow you to do this is a pretty big bonus for the marriage visa if you're considering your options when looking for what visa may suit you best. So worth bearing in mind. The non-immigrant visa has multiple categories, and each category has different requirements and benefits, and that's what we're going to be talking about today. So as we have mentioned a few times already, today we're looking at the marriage visa. So the marriage visa or the non-immigrant visa. Once again, the marriage visa is kind of a nickname for the actual sort of formal terming of the visa type. So what you'll actually have to do if you want to stay on a marriage visa, quote unquote marriage visa, is probably apply for a non-immigrant visa, and you'll have to do that before you come to Thailand, or you may have to do a visa run out of Thailand. You may be able to do it in country, I'm not sure. But what you'll probably have to do is enter the kingdom on a non-immigrant visa that you've applied for in your home country. Once you're in Thailand, what you will then do is get all the documents required, and we'll look at those later on in this video. Get all the documents required and then go to an immigration office in Thailand and apply for an extension of stay for 1 year, given on the grounds of being married to a Thai citizen. So you'll be on the non-immigrant visa type, and you'll be permitted to stay for up to a year as an extension of stay on the grounds of marriage. So that would be like the official kind of terminology of the actual visa you're on. We'll call it the marriage visa because it's pretty complicated, and most people refer to it as a marriage visa. But just so you know, what you'll probably have to do is get a non-immigrant visa and then get an extension of stay based on marriage. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the marriage visa for Thailand. So as you probably already guessed, the visa is available to foreigners who are married to Thai citizens. Okay, so this visa is for those who are married to a Thai citizen. So if your husband or your wife is Thai, then you probably can apply for the Thai marriage visa or the non-immigrant O visa and then get an extension of stay based on marriage. So to apply for the marriage visa, your marriage must be registered in Thailand. So that means if you got married abroad, so say you're an American and your partner, your wife or husband is Thai, and you got married in America, then you must come to Thailand and register your marriage in Thailand. So I think your partner would have to do it at a local sort of government building, perhaps their local town hall or something that resembles that. So your marriage must be registered and recognized in the Kingdom of Thailand. So yeah, if you got married abroad, then you will have to come to Thailand and register it here too. Also, you will need a marriage certificate. So you will need the Thai marriage certificate. So I'm presuming you would get that once your marriage is registered in Thailand. If you got married in Thailand, then probably this would be done automatically and you would already have it. But when you're applying for the extension of stay based on marriage, you must have the physical marriage certificate as well as your marriage being registered in the Kingdom of Thailand. So the marriage certificate looks something like this. You need this as part of your documentation. You probably need the original and a photocopy when you're applying for the extension of stay based on marriage. So you definitely need to make sure that you have one of these prepared if you're planning to go and apply for a marriage extension of stay here in the Kingdom of Thailand. So this is a picture of a visa. So this is a non-immigrant visa, as you can see over here. Non-immigrant O visa, category O. So just to give you an idea of what a visa actually looks like in your passport. So this isn't actually the marriage extension of stay. This is just a non-immigrant visa. You would probably get one of these for 90 days before coming to Thailand. And then once you were in Thailand, you would go to an immigration office with your documentation and apply for the 1-year extension of stay based on marriage. So yeah, that would be next to this. So this would be in your passport, and then you would have like a stamp with a date sort of signifying your extension of stay based on marriage, and this would be the visa. Just to give you an idea of what that visa kind of looks like in the passport, in case you've not seen one before. All right, so when it comes to the extension of stay, when it comes to being on the marriage visa or the 1-year extension of stay based on marriage, we're going to talk a little bit about visa renewal and 90-day reporting. So the marriage visa can be renewed every year without leaving the country. So what that means is, like I said, when you get an extension of stay approved, it's approved for 1 year typically. So what you'll have to do is go and apply again next year to get the 1-year extension of stay. You can do that inside the country. You do it at a local immigration office. You'll need to take all the same documentation and fit all the requirements once again. And as long as nothing has changed, as long as you still fit all the requirements, you're still married, then it probably won't be too strenuous to do, as you'll have done it before, and you just have to do it again. So yeah, you'll have to do it again. You'll have to go to an immigration office in Thailand, locally where you live, and renew the visa, renew the marriage visa or the extension of stay each and every year. So it does mean you can stay in the kingdom for multiple years continuously, because you don't have to leave the country and come back like you do on some visa types. You can renew it inside the country. So that is a positive, although it is a bit of a challenge going and renewing and getting all the documents and fitting all the criteria each and every year. You must also report at immigration every 90 days. Now, this is very common, so this may be new to you if you haven't lived in Thailand for an extended period, but if you have, you will be very familiar with 90-day reporting, as pretty much every long-term visa type here in Thailand requires you to report at an immigration office, your local immigration office, every 90 days. And all this entails is going to the immigration office with your passport. There'll be a piece of paper in there, your 90-day reporting card, and what they will do, you'll give your passport, you'll fill out a form, your 90 days reporting form. It has your name, address, contact details, and then you go and give that and your passport to someone. There'll be a separate area to do 90 days reporting as well, so you don't have to get in a long queue that can sometimes be there at immigration offices, although there can be a queue when you're going to do your 90-day reporting, but I recommend going in the mornings and you probably won't have to queue very long. Process for 90-day reporting only takes around 5 minutes if there's no queue. And what they do is they log it into the computer that you've completed your 90-day reporting. A new card or a new piece of paper is then printed out with the date on of your next 90-day reporting. So then they'll staple that in your passport and give you back. You'll probably be in and out in around 5 minutes. It's not a too taxing challenge, although you do have to do it every 90 days. And it's important to stay on top of that, because if you overstay and you don't report for the 90 days, then you will be fined. And I think they only allow you to do it so many times as well before you will have difficulties getting a visa in Thailand. There is no fee for 90-day reporting, so you don't have to pay any money, but you do just have to travel to the immigration office, your local immigration office, and report every 90 days on pretty much all of the non-immigrant classes of visas. This is an immigration office in Thailand. This is the Samui immigration office, so it may look like your local immigration office. They typically look pretty similar. And this is just to give you an idea of where you'll be going to do your renewal each year and your 90-day reporting. So you probably will become pretty familiar with your local immigration office if you're staying long term, as you have to go for renewals and 90-day reporting. You'll get to know the staff and the surrounding and the immigration office pretty well if you're staying in Thailand for an extended period of time. So that was just to give you an idea of the kind of place you'll be visiting fairly frequently if you're staying in Thailand long term. Next point, and this is a pretty crucial one that you may not know about, so I'm going to stress this point. So you must have proof of sufficient funds in a Thai bank or proof of monthly income, okay? And there is a certain amount you must have or you must be earning to be able to apply for the extension of stay based on marriage, okay? And we'll have a look at those now. So you must have 400,000 Thai baht in a Thai bank. So you must have this or the required monthly income. So 400,000 Thai baht is around, it's almost 12,000 US dollars, okay? So you must have 11,890 US dollars in a Thai bank, which would be 400,000 Thai baht. Now the official, you must have the 400,000. So that may vary. Obviously, currencies change and become more valuable or less valuable compared to other currencies. So the one that is important, the key number, is the 400,000 Thai baht must be in a Thai bank account, and you must have proof of those funds. Okay. So when you're applying for the extension of stay based on marriage, you must have proof of this amount of money, and this must have been it must have settled, as they like to call it, in a Thai bank account for 2 months, I believe. Okay, so it's either 2 or 3 months. You must have this fund have been sat in a Thai bank account for that length of time before you go to apply for the extension of stay. So that's worth bearing in mind. You can't just borrow a lump of money off someone and then give it back to them. It must have sat in your bank account for 2 months before your application. Okay, so yeah, you must have 400,000 Thai baht in a bank account, or you could instead have a monthly income of 40,000 Thai baht. So that's around almost 1,200 US dollars. So at the time of recording this video, it's about 1,190 US dollars. So you must have a monthly income of 40,000 Thai baht. So perhaps you're being paid, perhaps you have a business, perhaps you have a monthly salary, and you would be able to apply for the extension of stay if you don't have that fund sat in your bank. You must have proof that you're being paid regularly into a Thai bank, once again, I believe, of 40,000 Thai baht, around 1,190 US dollars. So you'd have to have proof of this as well. You'd have to have like a pay slip, or you'd have to have like records. You probably have to have both, to be honest, or you could have that lump sum sat in your Thai bank account. So you must remember that there are financial requirements you must meet if you want to apply, or you want to successfully apply for the Thai marriage visa. All right, so you can apply for the work permit on this visa to work legally in the Kingdom of Thailand. And we spoke about that a little bit before. This is a massive plus point for this visa type, as the work permit allows you to work legally in the kingdom. It's seen as a benefit by some employers because they can only have to apply for the work permit for you. They don't have to arrange your visa because you already have that sorted out. So it is a pretty big plus, in my opinion. And the work permit allows you to open up a Thai bank account as well for yourself. It allows you to register a vehicle in your name, which is pretty cool. So there are some benefits to the work permit, as well as being able to work legally in the Kingdom of Thailand, which is a pretty big plus point. Just in case you're wondering, this is what a Thai work permit looks like. It's a small blue buck. There's kind of like a little mini passport, so you'll have your picture and your personal information inside and the dates of your working contracts also printed on the inside. It's very much like a little passport that you need if you want to work legally in the Kingdom of Thailand, and if you're on the extension of stay based on marriage, then you can apply for a work permit and work legally in the Kingdom of Thailand. Alright, so you may be wondering, how much does the marriage visa cost? Okay, so like I said, the marriage visa is strictly a extension of stay, so you'll be given an extension of stay based on marriage once you come to the Kingdom of Thailand, and there will be a small fee, no doubt, to pay, probably around 1,900 Thai baht when you're going to get the extension of stay. But they're not listed on any of the official websites, so you probably will have to pay a small fee when you're getting the extension of stay. But in terms of the visa, so like we mentioned, what you'll probably have to do is get a non-immigrant visa in your home country, so you would apply at the embassy. So this one is a pretty good one, so the non-immigrant 3-month validity, single entry, stay up to 90 days. So this is a 90-day non-immigrant. I think it's a non-immigrant O visa. And the fee for that is 60 British pounds. So you probably have to pay about 60 quid for the visa to then come to Thailand. And once you're in Thailand, you would apply for the extension of stay based on marriage. So you're probably looking at spending about 60 quid for the initial visa to then travel to Thailand, and then you can apply for the extension of stay based on marriage once you're in the Kingdom of Thailand. So it may be and cost you another maybe 50 quid, let's say £100 total, I imagine. So you would apply and pay for the visa at an embassy in your home country for the non-immigrant type of visa, come to Thailand, where you'll probably be spending about £50, about 1,900 Thai baht, kind of typical pricing for extension of stays, I think, once you're in the kingdom at a local immigration office. So it's not really an expensive visa in terms of just the visa cost. So what documents will I need to apply for the extension of stay? So what documents will I need to apply for the marriage visa? So this is just to give you a rough idea. So I had a look online of what documents are listed online. You may need more documents than this, you may need less documents than this. So surprisingly, it does vary quite a bit depending on where you're living in Thailand, the requirements for the extension of stay. Typically, immigration offices work kind of independently given the province. So you may find you need some documents that I haven't mentioned. You may find that you don't need some of the ones that I have mentioned. But this is just to give you a rough idea of what you probably will need when applying for the extension of stay in Thailand to get the extension of stay based on marriage. All right, so let's have a look at some of the documents you may need. So you'll definitely need a valid passport, and your passport must have at least 6 months remaining before expiry date. Okay, so that's important to remember, and pretty standard across all visa types. Actually, you do need at least 6 months remaining on your passport to get a visa or an extension of stay put in your passport. You'll probably need passport photos, so you'll need some spare passport-sized photos. Sometimes you need to attach them to documents and forms you're filling out and applying with the immigration office. Like we said, you'll definitely need your marriage certificate, so you'll need to have a copy of your marriage certificate and the physical marriage certificate. You'll need bank statements with proof of funds, so not less than 2 months before application. So you'll need the proof of that lump sum amount in your Thai bank, or proof of payments, monthly income or salary from your job. You'll need a map showing the house in Thailand where you'll be living, and pictures showing you and your spouse. So I had to do this for my education visa. I had to have a picture of my condo, a picture of me in the condo, and a picture of me outside the condo. I believe if you're applying for the extension of stay based on marriage, you'll need pictures of you, yourself, and your spouse, so your partner, inside probably your house and outside your house perhaps. So you may need this. You probably don't need this everywhere, but I have seen it listed online. And like I said, I actually did need photos of myself in and outside of my condo when I was on the education visa, which is a non-immigrant class of visa. So you may need this. I wouldn't be surprised if you needed this. And you need copies of your partner's ID. So if they're a Thai citizen, that could be their passport or their Thai citizen ID card. With these documents, like I said, double check what you need. It does vary. It'll vary on your nationality. It'll vary on where you live in the Kingdom of Thailand and where you're applying for the visa. So get a list from the immigration office. And what you'll have to do is get physical copies. So you'll need your actual passport. You'll need your actual marriage certificate. You'll need physical copies. But you'll probably also need photocopies. So that's pretty standard as well. You'll need a lump of paperwork when you go to an immigration office. And I recommend doing the copies before you go. It saves a lot of time and potentially a lot of money. So yeah, definitely look into getting all your documents, all your photocopying done, and then you'll only need one trip to the immigration office, hopefully. So finally, let's go over how I get the marriage visa. So what I've done is made a little flowchart. We'll quickly go through just to show you the sequencing of events of getting the marriage visa or the extension of stay based on marriage here in the Kingdom of Thailand. Okay, so what you would do: apply for a non-immigrant O visa at a Thai embassy. So if you're coming from a different country, what you want to do is be on a non-immigrant visa before you get to the Kingdom of Thailand. If you're already in the Kingdom of Thailand, maybe you need to do a visa run, maybe you need to go to a nearby country like Laos, Cambodia or Malaysia and apply for a non-immigrant visa at an embassy in a country that isn't in Thailand. Okay, so you need to get a non-immigrant visa first. Then you can travel to Thailand on your non-immigrant visa, and once you're in Thailand you will begin to arrange the documents to apply for an extension of stay based on marriage. Alright, so communicate with a Thai immigration office in Thailand once you get here and you're on your non-immigrant visa already. Communicate with them, get a list of all the documents you'll need. So you need to collect all those documents and make photocopies of each one. That's what I would do. And then go to the immigration and get the form as well. So you can have a form and you can fill out the form before you go if you'd like to. So yeah, arrange all the documents to apply for your extension of stay based on marriage. Once you have arranged all your documents, all that's left to do is to apply for the extension of stay at an immigration office in Thailand. So you go to your local immigration office with all your documents and apply for that extension of stay, and hopefully it will be approved and put in your passport and you can stay in Thailand for 1 year, given on the grounds of marriage. Alright, so that concludes my overview of the marriage visa for Thailand. I hope you found this video useful or entertaining. If you did, then please hit that like button. I greatly appreciate it. And consider subscribing if you live in Thailand or if you plan to travel in Thailand, because I do make a lot of videos about living and traveling in the Kingdom of Thailand. I appreciate you watching this video, especially if you made it all the way to the end, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.